A roar shattered the silence. Birds exploded from the trees. Branches cracked and fell like a tremor had just hit. Allosaurus, the top predator of the Jurassic, had just brought down its prey in one swift, brutal attack. Blood still dripped from its teeth. But then, something shifted. The air thickened, wind stopped, and from beyond the trees, the ground began to tremble. A massive shadow crept into view, each step pressing centuries into the earth. It wasn't anything Allosaurus had ever seen. It was T.Rex, the ruler of the Cretaceous. They stood less than 30 meters apart. The world froze. One creature born of the distant past, the other a beast of the ancient future. No one knew why time had twisted. No one could explain how two species separated by 80 million years had been brought together in one instant. But right here in this forest clearing, something impossible was happening, a confrontation never witnessed in nature, a battle that evolution itself never allowed to happen. Allosaurus tilted its head slightly. Its eyes widened. Jaw parted, a low growl starting but never finishing. T.Rex didn't make a sound. Its amber eyes locked on the smaller predator, unmoving, unshaken. A slow, calculated lowering of its head was all it offered. The tension became unbearable. The air thickened with anticipation. This wasn't just a duel of two animals. This was an encounter between two eras, two evolutionary strategies, two apex predators. Allosaurus, swift, sharp, strategic. The sword fighter of the Jurassic. It stretched 8 to 9 meters, weighing just 1.5 to 2 tons. It relied on speed, coordination, and surgical accuracy. Its jaws weren't made to crush, but to slice, pull, and tear. With a flexible neck, Allosaurus could attack in rapid, repeated strikes, opening wounds with every motion. T.Rex, massive, brutal, deliberate, up to 12 meters long, weighing nearly 9 tons, with a bite force of 60,000 newtons, enough to crush bone instantly. It hunted alone. No chases, no groups. One strike was all it needed. One perfect hit. No second chances. A walking tank, the final evolution of terrestrial predation. Both were masterpieces of their environments, but from two completely different worlds. Allosaurus came from a time of giants, Stegosaurus, Camarasaurus, Diplodocus. It had to be nimble, coordinated, and fast. T.Rex evolved in a more vicious world. Triceratops, Ankylosaurus, Edmontosaurus. Every hunt was a gamble, every kill a battle. Its environment shaped it into something terrifying. These environments defined their fighting styles. Allosaurus thrived on speed, teamwork, and precision. T.Rex dominated through strength, patience, and the ability to end things quickly. One was a scalpel, the other a sledgehammer. One danced through combat, the other crushed anything that dared to stand. But what if they fought in the same space? That's the question fans have debated for decades. They've compared size, bite force, speed, agility, but no one has ever truly visualized what this battle would look like until now. Imagine it time erased. Two predators face off in a neutral zone, not Jurassic, not Cretaceous. A forest clearing, no hiding spots, no backup, just instinct muscle and evolutionary weaponry. T.Rex made the first move. Slow steps, head low, eyes locked. Allosaurus shifted slightly right, trying to maintain distance. Its tail curved, ready to spring. Both studied each other. Neither rushed. But no one wanted to be the first to falter. Their size difference was obvious. T.Rex dwarfed Allosaurus, but the smaller predator wasn't helpless. It had brought down prey twice its size, using patience and surgical strikes. In this fight, it needed to outlast, outthink, outmaneuver. T.Rex couldn't wait long. Every second burned energy. It had to commit. But if it lunged and missed, the consequences could be severe. With that massive body, one wrong step meant a ton of weight crashing in the wrong place. This wouldn't be a fight of speed. It would be a battle of timing, awareness, and nerve. Like two master duelists standing inches apart, waiting for the first move, because that move might be the last. In the next part, we'll break down every detail of their anatomy: the teeth, the claws, the muscles, the vision, the bite force, and even how they moved. Because to understand who would win, we need to understand what weapons each one brought to the fight. When two apex predators clash, it's not just instinct that steps into battle, it's the entire arsenal of biology shaped by millions of years of evolution. Every tooth, every muscle, every joint is optimized for one thing: survival. And to understand who might have the edge in a showdown between T-Rex and Allosaurus, we must examine their most powerful weapon, their bodies. From jaws to tails, from bite force to speed, these dinosaurs were living weapons forged by time itself. Let's begin with the deadliest part, the jaws. T-Rex wielded teeth up to 30 centimeters long, thick as bananas with serrated edges. But what truly made it terrifying was its bite force, up to 60,000 newtons. That's enough to crush the femur of a triceratops in a single chomp. It didn't just tear flesh, it pulverized bone. A bite from T-Rex wasn't an attack, it was an execution. Allosaurus, by contrast, didn't crush, it sliced. Its teeth were thinner, sharper, and more widely spaced. With a weaker bite force, around 15,000 newtons, it compensated with technique. Thanks to a unique neck structure, Allosaurus could perform the hatchet bite, a repeated up and down motion that inflicted multiple deep gashes. It didn't kill with one blow, it drained its prey through death by 1,000 cuts. T-Rex had a massive triangle-shaped skull, reinforced for maximum shock absorption, like a living battering ram. Allosaurus had a lighter, more flexible skull, built for agility, not brute force. That made it faster, but more vulnerable to direct impacts. A head-on strike from T-Rex's jaws could do catastrophic damage. Then there's the legs. T-Rex had thick, muscular hind limbs capable of propelling its 9-ton body up to 2730 km/h. That's not fast by modern predator standards, but for a dinosaur that size, it was terrifying. A charge from T-Rex was like a freight train of flesh. Allosaurus was much lighter, 1.5 to 2 tons, and could likely run at 35 km/h, giving it the advantage in speed and maneuverability. Now the neck. T-Rex had short, thick neck muscles designed to deliver and absorb massive bite forces. Allosaurus had a longer, more flexible neck, allowing it to strike from multiple angles and retreat quickly. T-Rex aimed for one perfect kill shot. Allosaurus played the long game, striking fast and often. Let's talk arms. Allosaurus had long, three-fingered arms with sharp claws, useful for slashing or grappling smaller prey. T-Rex had famously tiny arms, but don't be fooled. They were extremely strong, possibly capable of lifting over 180 kilograms. Still, their limited reach made them ineffective in a direct duel with an opponent of equal size. Their tails served as balancing tools. T-Rex's tail was heavy, counterbalancing its massive head and torso. It wasn't a weapon, but it helped maintain stability during movement. Allosaurus had a lighter tail, which made it more agile and better at dodging and turning quickly. In a fight, that agility could make all the difference. Their eyes told another story. T-Rex had forward-facing eyes, granting it stereoscopic vision and excellent depth perception, perfect for targeting prey with pinpoint accuracy. Allosaurus had more side-facing eyes, giving it a broader field of view, ideal for tracking group dynamics, but less precise for solo combat. Skin and armor were critical too. T-Rex had thick, scaly skin, possibly with areas of hardened scutes that provided protection in close combat. Allosaurus had thinner skin and little natural armor, relying more on speed and evasive tactics to stay alive. That difference could be fatal in a close-quarters battle. And then Center of gravity. Rex had a low center of mass thanks to its heavy torso and powerful thighs. This made it stable, hard to knock over. Allosaurus was more top-heavy and lighter, meaning it was easier to destabilize if struck hard from the side. In a battle of brute force, staying on your feet is everything. Now imagine a direct collision. T-Rex lunges in and lands a bite on Allosaurus's side. If it hits clean, the fight is over. But if it misses, if Allosaurus slips past and retaliates with a quick bite to the neck, then retreats before T-Rex can react, the tables turn. One strike could end it, but one mistake could expose weaknesses T-Rex didn't want to show. T-Rex is the master of one-hit kills, but it needs precision. Allosaurus is a duelist, designed to bleed enemies down over time. One depends on overwhelming force, the other on surgical strikes and endurance. There is no absolute winner, only the one who uses their tools best in the moment that matters. So the question becomes, what happens if the fight drags on? Does T-Rex lose patience? Does it exhaust itself after a couple of failed charges? Can Allosaurus dodge long enough to find an opening and hit where it hurts? We can't answer that without understanding how they hunted in the wild, because behavior is everything. Their hunting styles are the blueprint for how they fought. And in the next section, we'll break that down step by step. In any true battle, weapons are only half the equation. The other half, and often the more dangerous one, is how they're used. A sharp sword is useless in the hands of someone who doesn't know when to strike. A heavy hammer is a liability if swung at the wrong moment. With T-Rex and Allosaurus, both were evolutionary killing machines. But what made them lethal wasn't just their bodies, it was the strategy that turned biology into battlefield dominance. Let's begin with Allosaurus, the predator of giants. In the Jurassic period, it lived among the towering titans, Apatosaurus, Camarasaurus, diplodocus prey that could crush a hunter with a single misstep. Allosaurus wasn't the biggest, but it was one of the most cunning. To bring down prey several times its size, it relied on coordination, speed, and attrition. Fossil sites reveal bite marks from Allosaurus on sauropod bones and the remains of multiple allosaurs around a single carcass, suggesting group hunting or at least opportunistic feeding. Like modern hyenas, Allosaurus didn't need to kill in one bite. It needed to wound, weight, and wear down. It could keep attacking from angles, draining its prey's strength until the final strike finished the job. Tyrannosaurus rex, meanwhile, evolved in a deadlier world where herbivores could fight back. Triceratops had horned shields strong enough to impale a predator. Ankylosaurus had a tail like a medieval mace capable of breaking legs. One wrong move could mean injury, infection, and slow death. So T-Rex hunted differently. It hunted smarter. T-Rex was a solitary ambush predator with an extremely advanced sense of smell, among the best of any known dinosaur. It didn't chase for long. It stalked. It waited. And when the time was right, it lunged from the shadows with a single, devastating bite targeting the neck spine or hips. Not to test, to kill. In fact, fossilized Triceratops skulls have been found with puncture wounds that perfectly match T-Rex's teeth, some pierced clean through bone. These weren't probing bites. They were finishing blows. That's the key difference. T-Rex fought to end fights instantly. Allosaurus fought to wear its enemies down. In terms of hunting style, Allosaurus is like a lightweight boxer, constantly moving, hitting with flurries, dodging, and waiting for an opening. T-Rex is the heavyweight slugger, calm, focused. And when it throws a punch, it's trying to end the match. Both can win, but only if they fight their fight, and that contrast goes deeper. T-Rex didn't like prolonged combat. Its massive frame burned energy fast. It didn't take unnecessary risks. If the odds weren't in its favor, it would back off. That's not cowardice. That's survival instinct. It only struck when it knew it had the upper hand. Allosaurus, on the other hand, was used to chaos. It thrived in messy hunts, multiple targets, and larger, more dangerous prey. That gave it a certain boldness, maybe even recklessness. But what worked against slow-moving giants might not work against something like T-Rex, a predator, just as cunning, but far more powerful. Now imagine both of them in the same environment. If it's a semi-wooded plain with low brush, T-Rex could use cover, wait in silence, and launch its attack. If that first bite landed especially to the neck or side, Allosaurus wouldn't survive. But in an open plain with a room to run, Allosaurus might have the edge. It could avoid a direct hit, chip away with fast strikes and wear the larger predator down. In a real encounter, the winner might simply be the one who dictates the pace. T-Rex needs to control the moment. Allosaurus needs to control the distance. One fights in seconds, the other fights in minutes. But nature rarely lets anyone fight on their own terms, which brings us to reaction time and mental game. If Allosaurus spots T-Rex first, does it attack out of confidence or hesitate in caution? If T-Rex sees Allosaurus moving quickly, does it strike immediately or wait for a mistake? The one who can read the other's rhythm may be the one who survives. There's one more factor: experience. T-Rex was used to fighting heavily armored prey with deadly defenses. It knew how to deal with resistance. Allosaurus didn't evolve with opponents like Triceratops or Ankylosaurus. That lack of experience could be its undoing. Even if it's faster, it may underestimate the danger it's facing. So what happens when two creatures like this meet, not over food, not over territory, but simply because neither one is willing to back down? That's what we'll explore in the next section. A full simulation of a fight that never happened in natural history, but could finally unfold step by step, bite by bite, through the lens of science, strategy, and raw instinct. Dawn broke slowly across the barren land. Light pierced through the low clouds, painting the mist in pale silver. The world was silent. No birds, no breeze. Every sound seemed to have vanished, replaced by a stillness so deep it felt unnatural. Two giants emerged from opposite ends of this frozen moment. One was the terror of the Jurassic, the other the apex predator of the Cretaceous. Neither would back down, neither would call for help. This was a battle of pure instinct. T-Rex stepped forward first. Its massive frame moved like a living mountain. Head low, tail, balanced eyes locked on the advancing figure. Each step left deep impressions in the dirt. Across the clearing, Allosaurus advanced silently. It moved with surgical focus, no growls, no warning. A slight flick of the tail signaled readiness. Muscles tensed. The gap closed to 25 meters. T-Rex stopped. Then came a roar deep low like thunder rising from underground. Not loud, but powerful. A flock of birds scattered in the distance. Allosaurus didn't answer with sound. It answered with speed. With a sudden burst, it darted toward T-Rex's left side. T-Rex turned too late. Allosaurus landed the first strike, a bite to the rear thigh. Shallow, but it drew blood. A clean red streak across gray skin. T-Rex bellowed and turned hard, but Allosaurus had already pulled back, circling wide. It came again, this time from the right, but T-Rex didn't spin. It shifted weight to one leg, then suddenly swung its massive skull back with precision. Its jaws snapped shut, catching Allosaurus on the left shoulder. Not a killing blow, but deep. Blood sprayed from the wound. Allosaurus struggled, clawing at T-Rex's chest tail, whipping wildly. With one powerful twist, it wrenched free from the death grip, tearing flesh in the process. A gaping wound remained raw muscle and exposed bone. Gasping, it staggered backward, eyes blazing. For the first time, it realized this fight couldn't last long. T-Rex, bloodied but stable, advanced slowly. Allosaurus circled. It began to move faster, testing angles, shifting directions, staying outside the range of those crushing jaws. Each pass, it landed minor hits, bites to the leg, ribs, tail, nothing fatal, but enough to frustrate and fatigue. T-Rex endured. It didn't chase. It stood ground, waiting for a mistake. But its breathing quickened. Blood trickled down onto the damp soil, creating strange red patterns in the mist. Allosaurus saw the change. One more strike could tip the scale. So it charged. This time, Allosaurus went straight at T-Rex's chest, aiming for a deep bite and retreat. But T-Rex had anticipated it. No sidestep, no spin. Instead, it lunged forward, using its massive body like a battering ram. The impact slammed into Allosaurus, throwing it off balance. In that instant, T-Rex opened its jaws and clamped down hard on the right side of its opponent's neck. A crack echoed the sound of bone breaking. Allosaurus screamed, kicking and thrashing, but T-Rex didn't let go. It shook its head violently. Blood erupted. Finally, it released. Allosaurus stumbled back. One leg buckled. A gash ripped across its neck. It gasped, struggling to breathe. Then it collapsed. Spine curved, head low, motionless. T-Rex stood over it, chest heaving, flanks drenched in blood. It leaned down, nudged the body, gently checking. No movement. It stepped back and, for the first time, let out a long, final roar. Not a challenge, not a victory cry, a declaration the fight was over. Above, the sky shifted. Clouds parted. The wind returned. Birds fluttered past. Insects buzzed again. The forest exhaled, as if nature itself had held its breath during the battle and now at last released it. T-Rex turned and walked away, its back streaked with blood, one leg limping. But it was alive, still breathing, and in the world of dinosaur survival was the ultimate victory. The battle has ended. There are no more roars, no more claws colliding, just one creature still standing and one lying still. There's no crowned winner, no glory speech, no celebration. Because in nature, victory doesn't come from defeating others, it comes from surviving long enough to keep going. And today, the one who walked away was T-Rex. T-Rex didn't win because it was stronger in every way. It survived because it understood timing. It knew how to wait, how to strike with precision, how to endure when necessary, and how to back off when needed. That's not just instinct, that's refined survival wisdom carved by millions of years of evolution. And Allosaurus fast, intelligent, relentless, a fierce fighter. But in the final moment, it misjudged, and T-Rex didn't forgive. One wrong move, 1 second late, and the story ends. This wasn't just a clash between two meat-eating dinosaurs. This was a confrontation between two evolutionary strategies. One side, solitary strength, cold calculation, deadly precision. The other, agile tactics, adaptability, and persistence. Both worked in their own worlds, but when time warped and they faced each other, only one approach could prevail. And what if the environment had changed? If it were a swamp instead of an open plain? If the terrain was dense, humid, hard to navigate? Would the outcome have been different? Quite possibly. Because in nature, there's no such thing as absolute dominance, only the one most suited to the moment. T-Rex walked away alive, but not untouched. It carried open wounds, dripping blood. No one cleaned up Allosaurus's body. No one applauded. But that's the wild. Every scar is a lesson. Every step forward is proof of existence. And if you think modern life is different, think again. We don't stalk prey in forests, but we still fight every day against time, pressure, failure, and hard choices. And often success doesn't go to the strongest or smartest. It goes to those who know when to wait, when to strike, and when to adapt. Just like T-Rex, you don't need to win every fight to be called a warrior. You just need to still be standing at the end. So, what do you think? If Allosaurus had retreated and waited, would the outcome have changed? If it had allies, if multiple Allosaurs faced off against one Rex, who would have had the advantage? And what if a third predator had appeared, larger, smarter, deadlier? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read every single one. And if you found value in this journey, don't forget to hit subscribe, turn on notifications, leave a like, and share this with anyone who loves prehistoric worlds like you do. Because many more stories are waiting, many more battles that never happened but should be told. You've witnessed T-Rex versus Allosaurus. But what if the next rival is Spinosaurus, or Giganotosaurus, or a creature yet to be unearthed? We'll find out together in the next episode.